cold-blooded animals, among other mammals, have had to deal with the sub-zero temperatures of winter. The way most of these animals do so is by hibernating. However, one frog will blow you away. The way this frog hibernates is that it actually freezes its body completely. The heartbeat stops, the liver stops working,
Going to freeze.
and the frog
Freeze?
is basically dead.
Freeze. Solid freeze.
That touch of ice immediately sets off signals inside the frog, says Professor John Costanzo, that pulls water away from the center of its body, so the frog's internal organs are now wrapped in a puddle of water that then turns to solid ice.
I still can't get over it. It's really an amazing thing.
There is no breathing, no kidney function. The heart stops.
And there'll be no heartbeat for a long period of time.
You mean as in no heartbeat?
Right.
Nothing.
Flatline.
Flatline. For an hour or two?
It could be for days, perhaps even weeks.
Really? In time. When the days grow a little longer, and the ground gets a little warmer, and then, well, a kind of miracle happens. After weeks or months of no heartbeat, none, suddenly there's a pulse. And that first heartbeat leads to another, and then another, and then within a day, and in the case of this little frog, it took about 10 hours, the animal literally comes back to life.
In the past, researchers have often sought to preserve organs by rapidly cooling them down to negative 200 degrees Celsius in liquid nitrogen. The biggest problem with standard freezing is that expanding ice crystals wreak havoc upon the delicate tissues, rupturing thousands of microscopic blood vessels and crushing billions of cells. Such damage is irreplaceable. But if cooling occurs quickly enough, about 1000 degrees Celsius per minute, then water molecules simply don't have time to assemble into organized ice crystals. According to many scientists, the nagging problem is that organs are simply too large to cool uniformly at 1000 degrees Celsius per minute. This frog favors a gene that makes the amino acids create more sugar in the blood. Right before freezing, the frog coats itself on the outside with a sticky sugary substance. Sugar is also present in the veins of the frog while hibernating. This frog is important to study because it's due to genetic mutation and natural selection that this frog has the capability of freezing itself. This frog favors a gene that makes the amino acids which create more sugar in the blood. Right before freezing, the frog coats itself on the outside with a sticky sugary substance. Sugar is also present in the veins of the frog while hibernating. This frog is important to study because it's due to genetic mutation and natural selection that this frog has the capability of freezing itself. In order to better understand how the frog survives, we have to examine a part of the survival known as reproduction. As soon as an adult wood frog thaws, it moves into breeding pools. The pools they favor are the fresh water, free of fish or other egg or tadpole predators. The pools of water obviously vary because of the ice is yet to melt, hence winter has just ended. In the mating pools, males call to females with their duck-like songs. An attractive female enters the pool and is quickly grasped on the back by the smaller male. This is called emplex sex. The male may remain in place on the female's back for 24 to 72 hours. The male releases sperm into the pool of water as the female ovulates and thus externally fertilizes the forming egg mass. A typical egg mass contains 1,000 to 2,000 eggs. The female moves the floating egg mass into the shallow areas of the pool in a large communal raft. Counting these rafts in an area's pool is an accepted and highly efficient way to determine the population density of R. sylvatica or wood frog in a particular region. The eggs and embryos of R. sylvatica wood frogs have an interesting adaptation that enables them to survive both transient and sustained periods of freezing and sub-freezing temperatures. The temperature at which the egg and jelly surrounding it freeze is much different. The jelly will actually resist the freezing temperatures outside, causing it to freeze before the egg itself. This protects the egg and keeps it from freezing. It takes 1.5 to 2 months for the embryo to fully develop into free-swimming tadpoles.